Hello, guys. My name is Ahmed Khalif for the unscripted talks here in Dub Radio. So, as usual, you can see that the spree of protest is slowly trickling in even into other institutions. In Kenya, yesterday night and during the day, the medics did make it true. They play that they said occupy MOH, the Ministry of Health headquarters in Afya Center, Nairobi, located in Parklands. Now, the day was not only enough for them, but also they transited their protest and demonstration towards the night. They camped the whole night at the headquarters of the Ministry of Health. Yeah, the doctors, remember, there is this collective bargaining agreement that they did sign with the county governments and with the national government. And to be specific, that was in the year 2017 when the president of Kenya was Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So these collective bargaining agreement, they did actually sign it, to be specific, June 30th, that is with the national government in 2017, and July 6th, the same year with the county governments. So this was after a series of demonstrations by the medics that saw most of the Kenyan lack essential treatment in these hospitals, because we had been witnessing lots of impunity with our leaders. You find when MPs did want to raise their salaries, they would agree. They will disagree with other ideologies. They will disagree when it comes to referendum issues. They will disagree in other political, they had their political differences. But when it came to their pocket, that was a neutral ground for them all. Any increment that used to come within their way, whether you are an MP of the government or an opposition, you will simply do what? Support that bill to increase their salaries. Now, there was this agreement that was to be fulfilled. You know, a promise is a date. You know, and after those series of demonstrations, that's back in the year 2017, 7 years ago, the government agreed to sign a collective bargaining agreement. Yeah, and by then, the deputy president was none other than William Samoei Ruto. By the president was Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So the CBA never made the light of the day. And in the recent past, also this year, we saw doctors engaging in strikes. There were no essential medical services in our hospitals. But then, still, the government ignored, which is the main reason as to why medics and doctors decided to stage demonstrations amidst other demonstrations that began with the rejecting finance bill. It also escalated to now, it's no longer reject finance bill. Now it escalated to Ruto must go, which is actually a war greatly spearheaded by the Gen Zs and also the millennials. Now, what does this show you? Isn't this a failed state whereby the presidents keep on, or the leaders keep on issuing, issuing promises that they clearly know they cannot deliver? And I was so surprised by the previous women rep for Nairobi County. This is Esther Passaris, who was saying that President William Ruto is not a liar. He's simply not delivering his promises. So instead of criticizing him, we should give him ways on how to run the government. Hey, if you apply for a particular job and you submit your CV and your employer says that, hey, this is the actual best person that we can hire for this job. So it means when you are not able to discharge your responsibility in accordance with the, in accordance with the letter maybe of acceptance to your employment, or regards to the terms and conditions of that employment, then it means you are simply incompetent for that particular job. It is now time for you to resign. Yeah, I think the reason why presidents have a cabinet is to have competent people who can advise the president and come up with ways when there's a crisis, come up with ways to see that crisis put to halt, even if it not in terms of 100% dealing with it, but at least to a greater extent, showing the polity that something is being done to make sure that the current problem is being dealt with decisively, and sooner or later it will be a thing of the past. So if as a president you reach a point whereby you cannot deliver and now you are seeking help from the same nationals who did elect you, it means you are no longer competent, because you are chosen there by the virtue that and the trust that was bestowed to you, believing you could deliver. No, 2 years and nothing is seen. So that is why Kenyans are hungry. You know, then there's a very big difference between lying and promising. You can break a promise, you can make a promise, but listen, do presidents get in power because of promises? No. Their mandate is clearly spelled in the constitution. It's not a favor they are doing to the polity. It's not a favor they are doing to the national. It is simply well aligned responsibilities as the head of state, and each and every state official know their responsibility. So it is not a favor they are doing, but it is service that is well enshrined. Actually, this term honorable has since been overrated and overused. So it is time that we call them servant so and so. You understand? So this issue of the Nairobi women were coming and saying that he's simply failed in his promises, we should help him instead of trying to castigate him. No, we are not gonna do that. If you fail, simply it means you don't know what made you to be there. So simply walk out. Just resign. If you are unable to discharge your mandate, resign. Now, back to the doctors. Currently, what doctors are being paid is in terms of entry level doctors. We have mid level doctors, and we also have senior level doctors. Um, Entry level doctors, that is between 0 to 2 years, are currently being paid a sum of approximately 138,000 Kenyan shillings. Then middle level doctors are currently paid, that is those who have served between now 3 to 9 years. They're being actually paid according to experience. So between 3 to 9 years, they are being paid a sum of between 142,000 Kenyan shillings to 302,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, the senior level is which is now 10 years plus, they are being paid over 350,000 per month. Now you will ask yourself, that is inclusive of the allowances, right? So what is in this collective bargaining agreement? So what they are actually asking for is for the lowest paid doctor or intern to be earning about 212,000. You see, that is more than the entry level, which is 138,000. That is almost an increase of, if I take my mathematics right, around 74,000, an increment of 74,000 for entry level, maybe. Now, and the highest paid consultants to be earning at about 814,000 Kenyan shillings. Currently, as it is, between that bracket of 138 to 350,000, I think the highest paid doctor currently is at a sum of 600 and something, above 600,000. Now, it ranges between politicians, between dentists, between psychiatrists, it's different according to, you see, also being a doctor, you can be a doctor of everything. So it is also categorized. There are also categories of these doctors. So this has never been implemented. As we know also, the rate of employment is still too low. Now, what pains these institutions like the people who are working as a medics? And I'm so sure that even sooner or later, teachers, lecturers, anybody will be joining this fight to make sure that they better the services of the nation. Because we cannot sit down and in a nation whereby leaders keep on embezzling funds, showing their opulence, extravagance, then come and tell us there is no money in government. If somebody is being bribed close to 50 million or over 50 million per day for tea, just as a governor of Nairobi, you know, what does that mean? If like 17 million is being taken daily from the CBK to State House for emergencies and it's never returned back to the CBK, what does it mean? If it is 17 million by 28 or 30 days, do 50 million, isn't that enough budget to run the nation? I mean, what debt as a country does Kenya have? Has an audit begun? Has an audit be done so that people get to know what is the total debt that Kenya owes them? Then, hey, let's say, let us make sure that whatever we collect within this month, we take it all to the payment of debts, or try to minimize expenditure. That is what we've been crying for. You know, so that is what happened yesterday while the doctors camped outside the MOH headquarters, that the Ministry of Health headquarters at the Afia Center. So you all clearly see many people are hurt. Those are the only doctors who have come out to, talk about this. Students are will also come and complain about the CDF loans, the help loans. Now, speaking about CDF, there were some leaders who are now saying like, okay, now that you don't want to have the finance bill implemented, don't come and ask for CDF money. CDF money now will be cut off. Hey, CDF, before even it transited into NGCDF, even the affirmative action kind of thing, this finance bill 2024-2025 wasn't in existence. Before these, roads were being constructed. Before these, everybody was being paid. CDF was there. Even in the era of the late Mwai Kibaki, who was the third president of Kenya, there was even free primary education. You understand them? Don't you borrow a leaf and try to ask how was this being done before you will quickly say that now we are scrapping off CDF. So in simple terms, you are trying to punish the polity for exercising their rights that is well enshrined in the constitution, the right to picket. So you are here claiming that, no, what we don't want, you see that 20 million, 30 million, 70 million, you take to churches and harambes. You can cut it, no problem. That is your money that, whatever means you used to acquire it. Scrap that, okay? But whatever is in the constitution lawfully, anything that is legally within the legal framework, don't touch that because you are simply fueling an already injured animal. There is nothing dangerous than an injured animal. They will come back full force and it will bite you hard, So kindly, leaders, before you talk, kindly try and, measure your words, try and think, take a step back, because this is not that generation used to deal with. This is not the generation used to lie to. This is a generation that will simply take to the government bed, lay with it, and think that you'll now corrupt their minds. This is a generation that is not divided amongst trouble lines. This is not a generation that is fear driven. These are faceless, fearless, leaderless, non-tribal generation that is grooming up to take up this revolution happen in the 21st century. So the sooner you get to understand this, the better for you. Yeah. So there's no need of trying to punish people simply because they are on one side of the calendar and you are on the other side of the calendar. We differ in ideologies, but you cannot bring in laws, draconian laws that try to, choke us as citizens. We also have the right to live.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, DURB Radio ndio mpango mzima.